That's grandfather's brother.
Wow. Okay. And you know who was one of the first writers? Well, have you been able to get any of those newspaper archives?
No, but we can get to
Working on
them. The Rocks got them. Paulie, I gotta go see Paulie. Paulie and all them. Philip, they got all that stuff.
They got all that and stuff.
Yeah. But
how's your relationship with them?
oh, since the thing. Oh yeah, they're just waiting. They're good.
They opened up a whole new door.
Yeah. See, the thing is, we had generational beefs that our generation probably never even knew what was the matter.
Right.
And because of that, we weren't able to be close to our full family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So part of what we're doing now is to heal that. You know, because I mean, Uncle Arnold. I love Uncle Arnold. I know more about Uncle Arnold than I do my grandfather.
They had his picture on the wall at Mama's Medical.
Yeah, and it used to blow my mind when I used to go, why is Uncle Arnold's painting on the wall? And I remember I said it to this one person, individual I know, Lenape. They from Seager. So I was like, yeah, my uncle's picture was hanging on the wall. It was like, oh yeah, my grandmother had a plaque on the wall too. I said,
no, it's not the same thing.
It's not a plaque. This man had like an 8-foot painting.
Right. Mama's Medical ended up being the turning point when they began to train nurses. Now you weren't just regulated to have to be a maid, and it's because basically you get to graduate high school, you had to go become a maid, and you had these highly intelligent folks. They were highly intelligent. So, I mean, now this nursing program happened. And the good thing that Mama's Medical did is that they'll train you in-house. Hence, while you are learning to be a nurse, which is very hands-on, and as long as it's hands-on, you got it, okay?
That's how my mother became a lab technician.
Oh, my God. Excellent. I mean, just excellent. And so, Mama's Medical was one of those foundational places that gave that opportunity to African Americans and people of color, and that this opportunity help us go into the middle class. Example, Aunt Sarah, right? Your mother, single mother, buying her own house, right? One thing after another, it began to happen. So,
and that was our lifetime.
You have to be relating with folks who are influential. And also telling that real narrative, and who better than one of the original, one of the first people, what they go down in history as first African American newspaper in New Jersey. Now we know that his roots are Lenape. His roots are Lenape, but there is when his grandfather or great grandfather, when he got out of Virginia. His wife, what I think I read, that she came off of, where's Rihanna from?
She's Trinidadian.
Barbados.
Yeah.
She's from Barbados.
Oh.
The one with the pink shores and stuff. So this woman, she came off of that particular boat. And they end up being married. And she was also deemed as black. Negro woman. But when they did her comparison to him, great-grandpa's dad, they both had black eyes and black straight hair. Which was interesting.
Now the thing is, okay.
But she came from the islands.
All of this, I have the documents. All of the slaves that came to New Jersey were all from Barbados. Okay. That all Tinton Falls, the mill, they came there to work at the mill at Tinton Falls.
Yeah, okay.
That's why the slaves were initially brought to New Jersey. Monmouth County. Let's just deal with Monmouth County. Barbados. No African slaves. All the African slaves are the runaways. But we helped, when they emerged on our property.
Well, they say in Shrewsbury, that where the police station is now looks like a big mansion. That was a part of the Underground Railroad. Now, interesting enough, when you read Julian, but also what Julian has shared was that the house was positioned great grandfather's house. So great grandfather, he got out of slavery, All right, he wasn't enslaved; he was indentured.
Yeah, he was
and so
indentured.
his wife was enslaved, but they had a lot of similarities. They get out. He comes back here because this is his roots. So he basically comes back home, manages to get into raising thoroughbred horses and a couple of other things, and that. The long and short of it is that he becomes a part of the Underground Railroad, and Aunt Sarah never liked his cousin, because his cousin was full-bred Lenape, but the deal with him was, say, our great-great-grandfather was part of the Underground Railroad. Folks would come, but because of the traumas they may have experienced, some would freak out. And if, in the long and short of it, this is to my best my understanding, if they freaked out, he would contact his cousin, who was a bounty hunter,
Yeah, I know.
and say, take this one back.
Yeah.
And then he would take them. And that was really sad because, I mean, when Aunt Sarah shared about, she was like, you know, and he was a bounty hunter. But the thing was, I used to think to myself, yeah, but if you get somebody that's going to blow it for everybody.
Yeah, you got to. Now, this is another thing people overlook. Part of the treaties with Britain was if any of their property turns up missing, we, as the keepers of the treaty, have to return their property. Now, if technically slaves were property and they turned up missing, see, this is how we had to play, because we were freeing them by night,
Right. Yeah.
but then we'd have to play the role by day.
Yeah.
So,
right.
so you would be capturing them when you got to play the role, but at the same time, we're freeing them. See what I'm saying? So, so it's like the game you playing. Like it's like I tell people that Nat Turner, all right, his family hid on the Nottoway Indians reservation.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. After when it all went down, his family went and hid. Now, when the slave drivers come there, and they're like, "Who are they?" They'll go, "Those are our slaves."
Right.
To protect them, not because they're their slaves. See what I'm saying? So a lot of times we had to do things just to keep up an image because we were concerned with, like you said, the multitude.
Right.
So you might have to sacrifice one or two here and there.
Right.
So when I heard the story about how we hunted runaway slaves, people in our family, and we had a curse on us, I remember Lori told me that.
Really?
Yeah, Lori told me this.
Because we helped runaway slaves?
Yep.
That's right there in Shrewsbury. And this is another point. Is that I didn't realize that the church, the Presbyterian Church, and then the Allen House, that those were like little, they would keep folks there and then transfer them there. It was like one stop. And so they were all a part of this very intricate kind of CIA chain to get folks free, get them to Canada. The idea was to get you to Canada because not even New Jersey was really safe.
Now check this out. Another thing people don't realize is the underground, what we call the Underground Railroad, was just the already established native trade routes.
Really? Wow. They never share that?
Yeah, because that's
see,
all
this
it was.
Is why. See, so this is what I want to suggest that we do. A lot of folks can't. They're not going to be able to handle that. You got to be able to ease it on them. But it's stuff that makes sense. Like you said, I mean, how did Harriet Tubman figure that all out? Even the white folks, they weren't here that long. Whose trail are they following? That's why I found out all these names. Somebody named them, and our great grandfather was one of those tribe people, and they were trying to help, I think, keep their language alive, because it was like at that point in 1890, now it is against the law
to speak the language,
native. And so this is where my grandma Brittingham comes. My grandfather's mom comes into play. So they had the Trail of Tears, but guess what? They couldn't get everybody out because it's a nation. So what happened to those kids? Why did they make social services? Right? Social services came and took those kids out of their home, deemed them, whatever, and took them away and put them into Plainfield, right up the street here. Plainfield, one of the biggest orphanages. And then they would find, people who were willing to take them. Hope to God not molest them, you know what I mean? And stuff. So my grandmother, she was a Silva. So the Silvas, the Buffaloes, these folks. And stuff, but you'll be like, wow. And I had and this is the kicker. Everybody's name's Emma. Why is everybody's great grandma's name Emma? I met so many Emmas in this area. It was bad. I was like, your great grandma's name Emma? Your and she's what? And she's part what? And she's whole what? What was happening? Nobody told us that they took all these children to assimilate them. For native children, or some may have been mixed. They may have Irish, they may have been part African,
still native though,
but
based
still
on
native.
our traditions.
Oh yeah, they're speaking native. They're in their native land. I have you speak to Miss Henry. I want to do a documentary. Miss Henry will tell you. Oh, I lived in between Delaware and New Jersey. It used to have a native name, and so she was there. She remembers it.
Jersey
vividly.
is called Sheckney.
Well, that's deep. That's deep. But this woman, she's like 98 maybe. She'll tell you the land right there in between Delaware and where she was, and how the state came in and took her and her brothers and sisters, brought them to Plainfield, and then later she settled here. And she married Mr. Henry. But she said the reason why they took her out of her family's home was because she was still speaking the language. Now, I read about it in the textbooks. Julian alludes to it in the Rock of Ages. I didn't know that these people who we were deemed first generation, second generation born free would be directly linked. But when I went to work at Monmouth Medical Center, when I was 16 years old with the CEDAR program. I was a emergency room junior secretary. Later on, my mom hooked me up with a dietary job because those CEDAR jobs were only for 3 or 4 months, right, for the summer. As I became a dietary worker, I began to take care of patients bringing their trays. There was this group of people, and only way I could tell you that they looked like dark-skinned Native Americans. They, at that time, I'm 15, they must have been 90, 95. 90, 95. And to look at them, their features were Native American. But for some reason, they didn't have any hair at all, or very little hair. And when you walked in the room, they just look right, they wouldn't talk. Hey, can I get you some water? Are you okay?
Because of the persecutions.
They had numbers. Now I'm at 15 years old, so they told us all about the Holocaust and how they would put numbers on them. And so I looked at these people and I told the nurse, I was like, who are these? Oh, they came from a nursing home from down south, and we're just trying to take care of them. They're very but one thing they had that was strange. They had this long number on it. Very little. So that means when they were children, that's when they first got those numbers. So at that point I realized, oh my God. But on one hand, these folks used to be slaves. And that's when slavery became real to me. I was 15 years old. I realized that my grandfather was born a mere 50 years after slavery. That's why they were fleeing here to New Jersey. These people, we have people around who live there, and then it struck me because their features. I know African. I'm looking at something else here, and then it made me take a close look at my features, take a close look at your features, and then finally put together in my head at 15, 16 years old, wait a minute, we're missing a huge bit of information.
They used to call me Chinese boy. I used to be called so many names, all types of things.
My mom Japanese all the time. Japanese. It was a strange period of time in the late 1800s when you have people rushing to try to be free, and they're integrating with the remaining native folk, but at the same time they're persecuted because they want to send them all out west, and then you have this remnant group that ends up in orphanages. It's a mess. It's a Holocaust. But at the same time, there's these survivors, and these different opportunities. And so I'm wondering, because the race, it's like Middletown is where these free sites showed up. And I'm wondering if the native people had a hand in that.
Obviously, listen. Okay,
They must have had a hand in it, because there's no way you would have been able to get the land, because they were so very racist up there.
Middletown is the first lawful colony in New Jersey. All right. Prior to that, there were no legal colonies. If there were people living in New Jersey, Europeans, it was illegal. No treaties. Middletown is the first one to have a legal treaty.
Okay.
That's the significance of Middletown. Middletown, the people who lived in Middletown had a great relationship with the chief, and that's why the chief allowed them to set up. So they absolutely interacted with the indigenous people. Colonel Ty, have you heard of Colonel Ty?
Well, no, I don't know what Colonel Ty is.
Colonel Ty is a black man that was in charge. He was the head of the Ethiopian regiment.
Okay, of the Britain Empire?
Britain funded what they called runaway slaves here,
Right.
to burn down illegal colonies. Colonel Ty burnt down more illegal European colonies between Delaware and New York than anybody ever.
Oh wait, didn't he come from Neptune?
Yeah, they say he's a black man, but he's more than likely Lenape.
Oh.
But they call him a runaway slave, like they call everybody a runaway slave. But the point is, he was fighting against colonization at the very times we're talking about. He was running around here burning stuff down.
Right. I know it's funny. Now this is English, because when we talk about the Dutch, they have their own story, and the Swedes have their own story. But with Britain, what Queen Anne that did it? Queen Anne, what she did was that she emptied her jail, and then they told us the story that the folks. This is what we used to be told. The folks who came here, they were Christians. You know, they started reading the Bible. They got a hold of that Bible, and it made them upset. So they threw everybody in jail. And so people came from England so that they could have religious freedom. But that wasn't the truth. What happened was that they had a long tradition of how they dealt with mental illness and with poverty very harshly.
They were sent to Australia.
Right? Yeah. But first, they put you in a jail, and England's jails were so huge, and they took a lesson from the Romans. So the Romans taught the Britons, this is how we're going to treat y'all, right? Put them under the jail. When you went to jail, you didn't just go to jail yourself. Your kids went to jail.
Right? They still do that in South America.
So they down in there, right? I mean, it's under the ground. So folks who are pickpockets, murderers, rapists, like crazy fanatic religious, so they put them all there. And then it got so big that she said, listen, let's just put them on the boat. And they said the boat that they put these folks on to come over here, it wasn't supposed to even happen. It was supposed to crash. So she said, hey, listen, the gallows are onto the boats, and see if you can help, take care of this ground. This is your big chance, and try to grow something that we can be able to sell as a country. That's the short of it. Put them all on the boat. Those boats were so rickety, they weren't supposed to survive. But the point is this: the people who came here, before the other group came 65 years later, when they was like, we're having this great big war with France. Oh, wait, we need some money. Oh, how about that place? Let's go check on them, but they're still alive. When they came over here, those people are super mental ill. And I think there's a direct connection to that mental illness. Because you could have mental illness that can be, just like people have different diseases, and it goes generation to generation. mental illness is a disease. And so when I think of white supremacy, that whole kick that they get on, look at them the way they are. I think that's a mental illness, and it's a direct link to the original people who came here because they weren't all, but maybe some of them, but the majority of them were crazy as a bug.
Yeah, they were the low.
And nobody never told them.
Society.
Nobody was ever able to the point that they turned even on their own folks.
If you were to walk into any mosque in America and you just laid your hands on the first person or the third person or the fifth person that you see, you realize that you're laying your hands on a Native American?
I believe.
There's a sign when I entered that said Pine Brook Cemetery. If you go down the path a little bit more, there's more tombstones.